Hello, people of the internet. It's your boy Skinny Penis. And we're back with another replay. As said, we're gonna finish or not finish, we're gonna do a video on the new expensive cars, the very expensive cars, like Nanning, Cambridge. To be fair, Provorny and Eskimo we also could cover. Actually, I didn't cover Provorny, my fault, or I haven't covered it yet. Next one is gonna be Cambridge, but yeah. 110, 120 bucks for this tier 9 DD. Upfront, should you buy it? My opinion, no. Many thanks again to people like Galen, Obnoxious, and other people to fund this, because obviously I'm not a CC. I can play them for 40 games into the leaderboard and figure out if they're actually worth it or not. Upfront, this one here, I think it's not worth it. It's a really good DD, a really good DD. Average damage, win rate, fighting other DDs, gimmick set, everything is pretty good. I find it a bit more annoying to play though than other destroyers, just because the turret traverse is ass, even though they're 360. Like there's very slow turrets, and the ship itself is a brick, it's a Hayate. So I don't really like the maneuverability. It's pretty annoying to think more about your turrets and to also think more about how to maneuver around, because torpedoes can obviously catch you easier. Raiders are a bigger threat, and also running into DDs is a bit more stressful because you have 6-2 concealment like Hayate. So you have no heal, so fucking up means fucking up. You're probably gonna eat a lot of shit. Still good destroyer, but not worth the price tag, obviously not. I mean, you can only buy it in an Admiral's pack, and the Admiral's pack don't even offer additional bonuses. So like the normal price of this would be 65. You could consider it for that in my opinion, just because the additional 50 bucks you're spending, they don't really get you anything. I mean, green boosters are kind of shit. I would maybe get behind it if it's blue. Because obviously, like with blue boosters, you don't need to play a lot to get the value out of them. Green boosters are kind of like low value, but also, yeah, just gotta play tons of games in the first place. They try to make it a bit more tasty, these ships, in in the sense that they give them special missions for, I don't know, I think 30 days after purchase or some shit, or until a certain patch. I don't really know, but yeah, you get bonuses in terms of XP, credits, and stuff like that. Here, for example, like the ship is just immaneuverable. You have to be careful about torpedoes. This man actually kind of catching me a bit off guard in his Akatsuki. I thought, like, you see the Alsace and the Cleveland are running away on the minimap, so I thought like the DD must be gone, because otherwise why would they run into base? Turns out their DD was actually playing the 10 line, so I just ran my head into him, lost a lot of HP. But I mean, getting him out kind of means that there is no more destroyer action on this flank for a while. Obviously we're a bit addicted lately to blind fire, so we're a bit spastic and we actually get him. But yeah, to the ship itself, apart from it having shit traverse and being pretty maneuverable, it has incredibly flat arcs. It's actually quite awkward to aim with it in the first place, because the arcs are weird, like very fast shell, very low, very fast shells, very flat trajectories. So it's a very easy to use gunboat if you play AFT, which you kind of should. You don't need superintendent, so you can run Fearless Brawl, AFT. Oh, actually, true, in this game I still run Fearless Brawl, AFT, Conceal. And then AR and Survivability Expert. I dropped that. I went for the 1-point turret traverse skill and the 5% BFT. That is always active, just so I get the 1% turret traverse, because I just couldn't fucking bother with these shitty turrets. It's extreme. You outturn them. So like in DD fights, it's kind of like Kleber without turret traverse. You full turn, you outturn your turrets, meaning you can't keep guns on enemy. All of this, it's just annoying. Yeah, 360 turrets, yes, but turret traverse itself, shit. And then obviously the other gimmick on this car is the not the defe. I mean, yeah, there's a random defe on that, whatever, no one cares. Funny though that new cars get a lot of defes. It's the torpedoes that are pretty long range, 12 km, extremely long reload, but then they are like kind of the black torps. That's the best comparison. They have even more alpha than the black torps, and they're kind of as fast and stealthy. So like they're kind of nukes if you hit them. But obviously you can't really rely on something moving around and you torping, predicting it. It's more a different style of torping, where you torp potential future spots where people will hold, where people will stay, where like torpedo alleys, where people cross through, and then you just hope for timings. It's pretty hard to make these torpedoes work on moving targets. It's more like you will see later on, when people sit on islands more. I will hit torps in this game, so like the Alsace will kind of go stationary in a certain area, so I just throw them out. The Duncan sits on an island, so I just throw them out. And yeah, well, when they hit, they deal a lot of damage, but it's not really a reliable source of damage or additional armament that you can rely on. It's more like a, if it happens, it happens. You cannot really treat it as something that happens. For example, here, like the Alsace goes nosing on these islands, so I just at some point torp the random spot there. For example, now I'm still waiting, chugging them out for Alsace. I expect him to either run it down, nose into the island. That would maybe allow him to catch them. Or he just stays around there, which he will, and he catches them. But yeah, in the end, it's quite a lot of luck. As said, like, you have to change the way you torp. Can only really torp people where you expect them to sit in a certain area for a long period of time, so the torps have time to arrive. Yeah. And then again, because of the arcs, like the AP performance is amazing. The AP performance is pretty close to like Kleber. It's not like a Hull or an Elbing, more like Kleb, so you can citadel light cruisers or low tier cruisers up to mid ranges, like a Brisbane Minnow or so. You can citadel at like 10 km still, which is kind of nice. Then again, the ship is so fat and sluggish that Brisbane and Minnow are something you, for example, want to really avoid, especially like Beta Minnows could fuck you up real good. But yeah, is it something different? Not really. It's just like, once again, an existing hull, existing turrets. I think even like they exist on some other ship, and they just yeah, created like a Frankenstein ship again that does things from that ship that already exists, gets the hull from that ship that already exists, and then I guess the torpedoes are kind of newish, but then again, we already have that same torpedo idea on what's it called, Black, but to be fair, also really on Elbing and Regulo, they have similar torps, like long range, very slow. So you chuck them out in a different way than you would with Haaland or with Shimmer, where you actually torp for pathings as well. Like I said, you can't really torp for pathings with slow torps, because any sort of like, you have to lead so far if someone is full speed that any sort of maneuver immediately throws off the torpedoes. That's how crazy it is. But yeah, at least you get a smoke. It's kind of easy to farm if you run AFT and smoke. You can just sit around and farm. You have a decent amount of HP and pretty good DPM, so like DD fights are also kind of nice. I have a big problem with tier 9. Like I said, I played Nanning and Cambridge now, and then I also played Provorni and Eskimo. Currently, since I played like a lot of games on these two tiers now, it seemed that there is a definite bias towards tier 8. Like tier 8 seems to get really, really good matchmakings overall, whereas tier 9 is kind of currently, probably since a while already, I just don't play those tiers, the really fucked tier where you get tier 10 all the time, and specifically super ships. You're like a filler for super ship games, which is a problem, because the rest of the lobby will most likely be tier 10s, and you will have a few tier 9s in there, and that's a 2-tier difference too. That's like tier 8 playing against tier 10, which funnily enough doesn't happen so much. Like I play Eskimo, I get a lot of tier 7 to 9, or even tier 6 to 8 games, a lot more than tier 10. Also, to be fair, things like Eskimo play way better into tier 2-tier matchmaking, just because you have better conceal and more maneuverability. Having no maneuverability, like here on Nanning, it's really just a brick, is kind of annoying. You have to keep your distance. It doesn't really like to play close knife fights. You could kind of compare it a bit in... It's a bit better than Elbing, but it's kind of similar to it. Like, you don't want to be that close, but yeah. As you can see, also the turret traverse without the one-pointer is even more atrocious. I have a big problem getting my turrets on target. Takes a while. Yeah, and specifically in DD fights, that is a huge issue. And as you can also see, like, I want to kind of scour around away from the enemies. And as I said in the beginning, the DD is gone, so that was one of the more important things that happened in this game. Killing the DD was important. He can't spot me anymore randomly, so I don't lose HP, and I can actually move around a bit more freely. If you assume you have a carrier or 3-4 DD still alive, the ship becomes pretty passive if you want to play it right. By the way, here we are hitting torpedoes again. 2 torps for 40k. And then I think like a third one too. Yeah, another 20. So like that is 60k from 3 torps. I think Duncan has like dog shit, like the most dog shit torpedo protection impossible. But I mean, you have to remember the things have 27 alpha, so he reduced the damage by 7k. That's actually percentage-wise not even that bad, but I mean, it's still 20k. The torps hit like a truck. Sadly, you can't really use them much. Obviously, you wouldn't spec for them. It's a gunboat, it's not a torpedo boat. Also, like in a lot of situations, you would just keep the torps if you play islands or something, or an enemy is suiciding on you. So you can suicide trade them from your smoke. Like if I smoke up and someone runs at me, I would keep the torps and then just torp him out. Fairly simple, fairly easy. That's a nice tool. It's not like a Ragnar, for example, or Hull in that sense. It doesn't have torps at all. You actually do have an easy way to defend yourself around islands against heavy ships, even if they're full HP. I mean, hell, those torps, I 99.9% sure one-shot a Satsuma, even if you had all of them on the torpedo belt. Like, the alpha is just too high. I mean, we could do it when, like, it's Satsuma torpedo belt is like 50-60%, so every torp would still deal 12, 11 to 13k. Yeah, well, it's 10 torps, so, like, I guess you one-shot a Satsuma even. Yeah, pretty nice. I said the next ship will be Cambridge. I find Cambridge a bit more interesting. Still not advisable to buy it. Cambridge would be one of those ships where I would say if you're really, really good at the game and you could or you're able to play glass cannons, like full-on glass cannons really well into a lot of up-tier matches, Cambridge can be really interesting just because it's so accurate and it has amazing guns, but it has no armor and barely HP and the heal is kind of useless. The first one is good maybe, but I mean, if you get Citadel, the first one is already shit. Like, the heal has no improved characteristics apart from being a super heal. So, like, fire damage is not your issue on a 45k HP cruiser with no armor. It's overmatched and Citadels. Anyways, this one here, yeah, I personally wouldn't buy it. I also think, like, even if you have the money, would you really play the ship a lot? And there I have to say it's not that fun, just because you have to stay at distance a lot, and it's a bit annoying, as said, with the maneuverability and the turret traverse. Like, given that, people wouldn't really spam it much, I would think, just because there's a bunch of other DDs that are way easier and more chill to play, so that's way more enjoyable, and generally people tend to play something they find enjoyable. Like, even then, I wouldn't really recommend purchasing it. It's just, I mean, unless you want to play 100 games on it, why would you spend 110, 20 bucks on it? I feel like the prices are way too high. It's disgusting. As I suspected, though, the Cambridge and the Nanning both offer better, or like they're both stronger ships than most ships on the tier. You are also kind of, yeah, either designed to be decent at up-tiering. Like, Cambridge doesn't really care what tier cruiser fights it. Like, you can also fist tier 10 and 11 cruisers with your guns. This one here doesn't really mind being in tier 10 and 11 as much as other tier 9s either, like the old tech trees, for example, just because they gave it these arcs and range and smoke. So, like, you can farm. Like, it doesn't matter what tier ship you farm. If you get this sit at 12 km and smoke in a smoke, sit in a smoke, you can farm no matter the tier, right? So I feel like these ships are intentionally stronger than what is already on the server. Nanning, to be fair, it's a really strong DD, but tier 9 offers a lot of strong DDs, and I personally think there's a lot of DDs on tier 9 that are even better than this. I would personally just, or I personally would say a Mogador is stronger. Akita is most likely overall stronger. Actually, yeah, it is overall stronger. What else do we have? I mean, Groningen, probably easier to play. Not as simple to aim with at long range, but definitely safer in the smokes because of the hydros and stuff. But you don't have torps, so you can get run down. And what else DDs do we have? I mean, this one here, kind of a different type flavor, Udaloy. Like, I would just play Udaloy, honestly. Udaloy also has great arcs. Udaloy has good DPM. Probably less than this, I would assume, maybe the same. But Udaloy offers 15 actually fairly easy to use torps. They're decently fast, so you have 15 torps, pretty nice. You have a heal and a smoke. Also, you get Defe, I think, even on Udaloy, though those Defes don't really matter, so whatever. But yeah, it's kind of like a different flavor Udaloy. I mean, it is also, yeah, like Russian guns here on an IGN hull, and it's supposed to be Pan-Asian. It's some Frankenstein shit. I don't know. But yeah, you could just play Udaloy. I personally think Udaloy is one of the forgotten gems on tier 9 anyways. It's overall really good. Only thing you don't have on Udaloy is obviously the concealment, but therefore you get more maneuverability and easier turrets and speed as well. But yeah, otherwise, what other DDs? I mean, Benham is for Torps, for example, one of the most, or the most broken. Jaeger for Torps and spotting. Black for DD fighting is extremely annoying because it always gets the outplay for free button in its smoke with the radar. Yeah, like there's a lot of DDs you can choose from that are safer to play, easier to play, and in their role maybe even more effective. This is like more of a combined thing from multiple DDs, and you get some concealment with smokes and stuff, so you can play inside caps a bit, but then you also get this long range farming. I don't know. Frankensteinship. Cambridge is a bit of an odd one, just because it's this new type of design like Brenner's that they try, where they give a cruiser absolutely fucking zero tankiness. Also make it 60-second fires, even though it's a Tulsa hull with Tulsa armor, right? Like Tulsa is a normal cruiser. And then they slap cruiser accuracy battlecruiser guns on it. Like Brenner's has that with the 305s or some shit from Carnot. Like the same gun. And obviously Cambridge has the Alaska guns. So those are a bit more interesting just because they're a mega glass cannon. And I also bet a lot of people find the funny Citadel farming you can do with this in the right situations way more interesting and gives you way more neuron activation because big Citadels. I mean, torpedo hits are also kind of cool. Sometimes you one-shot a DD with one torp, or you hit torps like I do in this game. Also kind of cool, but it's not as nice as the neuron activation through Citadel, Black Ribbon, and one-shots. Yeah. Still a strong DD though. Like, I think my stats currently, I mean, I haven't really finished it yet. In like 20 games, a bit more. I mean, you do look 140, 50k average in this thing. I mean, you could even cheese it more, like you could just play for farming and get even more damage. I feel like you should definitely play it with conceal and stuff. I mean, you don't really get much value out of dropping conceal, get a bit more DPM, I guess. But the ship really doesn't like to be close range and spotted, so I'm not a big fan. This game, pretty high damage. I mean, obviously a combination of guns and torps. I had another game that I lost, which is kind of whatever, bunch of numbnut. Like, the people in this game weren't stupidly suiciding into me. Kind of, not really that hard. So it was a bit more interesting to watch. The other game where I had like 7 kills and 270k damage or some shit was basically just my team suiciding quite hard and then the enemy team running it down into me. Both of the games were, by the way, tier 7 matchmaking. That's obviously when these ships are incredibly strong. You could you could sum up these boats that they're slightly better than other ships on the tier into up tiers, but they're way more broken into tier 7 and 8. Like, specifically, Cambridge would fit perfectly into that. Valparaiso already did. Suzuya does. This one here kind of too, because tier 7 and 8 DDs mostly don't have the concealment to outplay you that easy, or DPM, whereas tier 9, 10, and 11 actually can shit on you. There's a lot of DDs that you don't want to face, really, or where that can zone you away. Also, more radar, really bad for this ship, whereas on tier 7 and 8, you don't really get the radar. So, like, yeah, they're kind of creating these Franken ships that are really nuts into tier 7 and 8. And I think that's where they try to get people to buy them and then click repeatedly into the matchmaker and hope that they, I don't know, play their Cambridge or Nanning into a tier 7, tier 8 cruiser bunch and then kind of grief them out with AP and Citadels and whatever, or I don't know, Nanning hitting 2 torps on a tier 7 BB and basically removing 3/4 of his HP, something like that. I don't know, something like that must be it. Because otherwise, yeah, these ships don't really bring much to the table to tier 11 matchmaking, honestly. Like, the utility set doesn't really fit it. Anyways, pretty good game, 2-6 base. Obviously, in this game, like, you get a pretty high damage games if you also manage to hit torpedoes. That's kind of the funny thing. Like, you can farm up to like 150, 200, but if you want to go far and beyond, you need like the torp hits to also come in, which they did here. 5 torps, 93k. What is that? That's an average of like 18,000 per torp. Actually, more than 18,000, I think, right? I think so. It's like 19,000 per torp nearly. Pretty fucking hard hitting torps, but pretty hard to hit them in the first place. Yeah, then afterwards, because like you do have quite a high fire chance. This game, not a lot of AP scenarios. I can only tell you the AP performance is crazy. Like if you get to farm inside a broadside of a ship with a smoke, you can chunk for 4 to 6k every volley, depending on the ship. It's actually massive. Like the AP is crazy. But yeah. And then obviously the defe, it's kind of whatever, like you shoot down a bunch of planes, but do you really care? That map obviously, and the spawn that I had is really bad for spotting. It's really, really bad, specifically when people sit on islands and shit, doesn't really do much. Here you can see 3 torps, 61,400 damage. That's crazy. This one here, only 31k, but I think I hit the ass and the nose. And the torps have such high alpha, I think, that the torp itself may already saturate the portion, so it can't deal max damage. Like, technically, right, a nose and an ass section of a ship doesn't have a torpedo belt, so therefore it doesn't have torpedo protection reduction. So you would think, okay, if it's unsaturated, you could deal like 27k, but the portion of that ship, the hull portion, only has a certain set of HP. And I think it must have been kept at like 15, 16k, because that's why my torps don't deal that much damage. It was, I think, literally an ass and a nose torp. Yeah, so like hitting midship, because it counts as like the main section hull and the citadel as well, I think. The mid section hits, like I did on the Duncan, are way better. Like, you probably, with this shit, want to, on most BBs at least, like the ones with pretty low torpedo protection, or below 50% torpedo, you actually want to hit the main section, I think, which is kind of awkward, just because the torps have so much damage and so much alpha. But yeah, and then you farm a bit here and there with the guns at range, obviously very comfortable. Yeah, that's about it. And you have a specific income. That's the new gimmick. I think it's the modifiers here. No, it's not. I don't know. I think you can't see it here. There it is. Combat mission. Enter a battle. There it is. There it is. This is the new thing for a few days. It's actually only temporary. You don't get it forever, but you can farm more additional free XP and additional commander XP with, I mean, additional XP per battle. I never got behind that bullshit. Like, they don't give you credits because they obviously don't want you to have credits. But the additional XP per battle, I never got it. But yeah, you farm a lot of XP on those ships. I mean, I know why they do it, because a bunch of numbnuts will buy these ships as their first, and then they will get more XP on that ship when they play it, and then they can buy more doubloons to convert the XP into that. That's how cringe the company has become. They kind of want new players to buy high tier premium, get more XP for their shit performances, and then also convert that XP into more free XP to get even more high tier shit they can suck in. And that's it. I mean, be honest here. That's literally what they do. It's pretty fucking shit. I'm not really running big boosters on this, and there's still a lot coming out. Then again, something that I should mention, you have to have a 21-point commander if you really want good value out of these premiums. I mean, you can always move a captain for free, but it's Pan-Asian. Like, do you have a Pan-Asian 21-pointer? Good question. I don't know. Most people probably don't play Pan-Asia that much, since they only have to offer Yinan and YY. Which is not really that popular in terms of boats. Then again, if you have one, you can just move it and farm a bit of XP too. That's it for Nanning. I said I had a better game, but it's kind of like just people inting into me, so whatever. I personally wouldn't buy it. No chance in hell. It's not even that fun to play. As I said, like, the range farming aspect of it is really strong. But you have a lot of DDs on the tier that do the same thing already, just more comfortable, or like same outcome really. Like, you could literally play an Udaloy maybe, or Tashkent with heal, something like that. Even a Mogador with AFT, and you just have an easier time probably, or a more fun time, let's say, because the ships are a bit more flexible in my opinion. Whereas this is very passive. Wouldn't buy it. Hope you still like the video. Hope Wargaming gives us a few more cheaper ships than 110, 120 bucks for garbage. Or like, not garbage in the sense that it's a bad ship, but more like Frankenstein shit, like a bunch of copy pasted hulls, AA mounts, turrets and whatever, not in gimmicks, to create new fun thing, a supposedly fun thing. But yeah, hope you liked it. See you in the next video for Cambridge, and adios.